everyone. I'm Samantha Crane. I'm ASAN's Director of Public Policy. And today I have the great honor of presenting our Ally of the Year Award to Diane Coleman, the president of Not Dead Yet. Not Dead Yet has, and Diane Coleman as the head of it, has done just decades and decades of advocacy around the idea that disabled lives are valuable and worth living. This is not a radical concept, but it is sufficiently not acknowledged in our society enough to the point where we actually have to be saying this. It's kind of unbelievable. But, so they were the first cross-disability organization to really stand with ASAN. Years ago, there was a ransom notes campaign in which an autism research center had placed ads on buses, bus stops, and other public places describing autism as a kind of a kidnapper that has stolen people's child, and that autism would doom children to a life of isolation, poverty, and misery. Not Dead Yet was the first organization, first cross-disability organization, not autism specific, to stand up with ASAN and say this is not an acceptable way of describing the lives of autistic individuals. Unfortunately, that campaign, while we were successful, it keeps coming up again and again. Just today, I saw an article in the Washington Post in which parents of autistic children were reacting with complete anger. I think the word that the article used to describe it was rage spiral over Jerry Seinfeld daring to suggest that he might be autistic. And the reason that they were so upset was because Jerry Seinfeld was a likable person. And Jerry Seinfeld wasn't like their children. Jerry Seinfeld wasn't a picture of pure misery and degradation. And that any representation of autism as something other than that just truly offended them on a visceral level. Not Dead Yet, in addition to working with us on the Ransom Notes campaign, has also worked with us very extensively in the past year, ranging from an amicus brief, which we collaborated, challenging Wisconsin hospital system's decision to remove an autistic child from antibiotics when he had treatable pneumonia, thus letting him die. To cross-collaboration on issues like applied behavioral analysis, community integration, and the Autism Cares Act. I'm so blessed to be able to present this award to you, Diane, and I might be biased because I'm also on your board. Thank you very much, everyone. Let's have a clap for Diane.
So lucky to have you on my board. I'm going to use assistive technology now so that I can have my papers, which I need because I'm not that good at extemporizing. And I want to be sure to really acknowledge some of the incredible people in this organization that I've had the privilege to work with. Okay, so now I'm Paul. So far. It's a really great honor to be recognized by such an awesome group of peers in the disability rights movement. Working with ASAN has been an incredible joy and privilege. And I have to admit, sometimes, frankly, it's been hard to keep up with you all. For example, ASAN leaders like Zoe Gross came up with the annual National Day of Mourning in honor of the countless people with disabilities who've been murdered by parents and other family members and caregivers. While Not Dead Yet opened a dialogue with the Transplant Division of Health and Human Services to talk about unfair pressures to donate disabled people's organs rather than save our lives, ASAN led the corresponding push to ensure that people with disabilities have the same eligibility for organ transplants as anybody else. And then you went on to develop a policy paper and a toolkit to go forward with that effort. So, like I said, really hard to keep up. When TV personality Dr. Oz conducted a segment on assisted suicide, Ari spoke from the audience, making a powerful case for non-discrimination. We deserve the same suicide prevention as everybody else. When Not Dead Yet was asked to help organize a friend of the court brief in Wisconsin, the one that Sam was just talking about, it's actually Samantha who stepped up and became the counsel for that brief, which represented 8 national disability organizations in our filing to try to get the Wisconsin Supreme Court to acknowledge that doctors and families should not be able to withhold life-sustaining treatment from a child with a disability that they could not withhold from a child without a disability. And then you developed a federal bill to give people with disabilities an alternative form of supports to make healthcare decisions so that surrogates don't have the power to kill us like that. Again, hard to keep up with these people. It's quite amazing. And when Ari called me a couple of years ago with an idea that we should put together a disability conference on bioethics, who would have known how many people would ultimately say it was the best conference they ever attended. We did that finally in April of this year, so it was a great idea. So what I really want to say is this. At a time when policies in favor of medical killing of people with disabilities are being pushed on us from all directions, your energy and commitment to the concerns that ASAN and Not Dead Yet have in common has really lifted my heart. Thank you for that. And most of all, thank you for the lives that you're saving through your incredible work.
Hello, my name is Bascom, and I'm ASAN's Director of Programs, so I'm Sam's counterpart on all the non-policy stuff. And every year, we present an award for services to the self-advocate community, and this year it is my distinct pleasure to present Sharon Davenport as our honoree. Sharon is the founder and president of the Autism Women's Network, or AWN. The mission of the Autism Women's Network, and I have it here, is to provide effective supports to autistic women and girls of all ages through a sense of community, advocacy, and resources. AWN is currently an all-volunteer organization. They do all of that without any paid staff. They've just this year acquired official nonprofit status, and we really couldn't be more excited by their growth. And if I can take a minute, I want to explain why, as an autistic woman, the existence of an organization like AWN is so important to me. Autistic women face a unique set of experiences and barriers in our lives. We're comically underdiagnosed to the point where the diagnostic criteria for autism actually specifically mention we are at risk of being missed entirely. Our experiences with autism and with disability can be very different from those of a 4-year-old white boy, the most common and popular face of autism. As hard as that can be to imagine. AWN and its focus on autistic women and girls fills a badly needed gap, and they fill that gap with understanding, support, and community. From the perspective of my role with ASAN, AWN is a vital ally in advocacy. From my perspective as an autistic woman, AWN helps me remember and understand that I am real and that I exist. And so it is my great honor to present AWN President Sharon Davenport with this award for service to the self-advocate community. Sharon, come on up.
Thank you so much. First, I want to thank ASAN for all the work they do. I remember 8 years ago, which you spoke about, Ari, when I stumbled upon ASAN, and my son, who is disabled, he was having a really tough time in junior high. And I remember when I went to your website, it was that old blue website with the black print. You remember that? Before Lori got a hold of it, right? So, the concept of neurodiversity was someone who grew up undiagnosed until I was in my 40s, early 40s. I had so much an internalized ableism that I didn't even understand, but something rang so true. And I remember reading an article, and I went to my son and I said, "Do you want to be cured?" He looked at me and he said, "I want to be accepted for who I am." And that changed everything for me. And I'm so thankful to everyone at ASAN. We have a voice in Washington on a huge scale that just blows my mind. It's just unbelievable. The Autism Women's Network, I feel like it's a reunion tonight. We have some of our founding board members here, Savannah. We have Lindsay Nebeker. We have Lori Berkowitz, who's still with us, so who does our web development. And we have our newest board member, Lydia Brown, here. Hey, Lydia. Who's going to run for president of the United States one day, right? But anyway, I just want to say that self-advocacy it's an action, and it's our opportunity to express our desires and to stand up for our rights. And I think our community is beautiful. The disabled community, we are made up of just a wide array of people who are loud, bold, and brazen activists who will lift the rooftops, fighting for their rights, for my rights, for your rights, and for a community of people they will never even know. And then we have the quiet, more seemingly, I'd say they have a strong resolve, and they may not be as loud, but never underestimate them. Oftentimes, they're the ones who are building the bridges that is strong enough to hold up those activists on the front lines. We need each other, and I'm so grateful to be part of this community. Thank you.